Welcome. Welcome to the flipped classroom for Westchester. My name is Tracy Clark, and I teach at Fugate Middle School. I teach computer science. I've been working with online instructional elements for a number of years now. And the flipped classroom or flipped lesson seems to be the new thing on the block, although it's not that new. For the next 3 weeks, what you will need to be able to do are the following. You'll need to be able for week 1 to answer a discussion question and basically plan out a lesson that you'd like to flip. Week 2, you're going to get into some video instruction using some screencasting tools. And then week 3, we're going to put it all together. And then I'm also going to introduce some gamification or gaming elements to your flipped lesson. Now, if you've read anything, watched anything, been to any presentations recently, the flipped classroom seems to be an extremely popular concept to add to your classroom. It's not new, and in some cases, many people have been doing it already. You just didn't realize it. Within a flipped classroom today, as far as today's elements go, it's using video software, screencasting software. It's hosting your lesson. But the idea is to increase the engagement with your students. I look at it this way. If I have a concept that I need my students to understand fully for tomorrow, then I may create a screencast. Within that screencast, I may have students do some kind of a lesson, a homework style kind of a lesson. And then I may have them engage in an with other students so that when they come into the classroom tomorrow, they're ready to go. So it's almost like the science curriculum, and science teachers do this all the time. They have a lab tomorrow, so they need students to actually understand certain concepts today so that they can apply the concepts within their lab setting. Now, throughout the presentation, and there's a PowerPoint this PowerPoint's also attached to our class website. You'll see some click here's, you'll see some YouTube videos. These are just additional resources available to you to help you understand what the actual lesson is or what the flipped classroom is. For example, these two gentlemen right here seem to be the beginners or the ones that are promoting the flipped classroom. They're out of Colorado. You can see that they're science driven, and they were looking for a new way to get their students engaged in their classes. Now, a flipped classroom is not just a way to post some online videos and have students watch those videos as far as like substituting your lecture for the video. It's also not about replacing teachers with videos, and some people will go down that road, or even down the road of it's a way to create an online course or replace you as a teacher with an online course. Students do work with structure, not without structure. And then in the end, students are working together. And the idea of the ultimate flipped classroom is students are working together, whether collaboratively in partners or in small groups. And again, students you're not just creating lessons, video lessons, and then setting to the side and moving right on. You're actually requiring students to be engaged and interactive with whatever concepts that you want them to actually to understand as they come back into your classroom. The hardest part of all of this is trying to understand what lesson is going to be appropriate for you to flip, and then how do you want to deliver that. Some teachers will just simply want to have a PowerPoint, and then they'll convert the PowerPoint to a video with you not even doing a voice narration or having a screen capture like a picture in a picture, and that's fine. If that's what works for you and that's what works for your students, then that's the route that you go. I think, though, one of the things you have to find out early on is what will work for your students. You know your students best. You know who's likely to engage in a flipped classroom or flipped lesson and who is not. The one thing I will say is you can't, if you develop it and then you share it out with your students and you want your students to engage in it, you have to follow through with whatever you're doing. You can use the flipped lesson or the flipped classroom every now and then, and that's fine. Or you can be more of a regular kind of flipped teacher where you're doing it on, at the beginning of a chapter or at the beginning of the lesson that you want to engage with. Some of the new homework is, it's not new homework. We've been having students watch YouTube videos for a while, going to websites, looking at the presentations. But it's the level of engagement that you want students to actually have with the concept that you're dealing with. KWL charts aren't new. Graphic organizers are not new. But whatever you come up with this week, you have to kind of figure out how do you want students to engage with your content. And that's the overall thing. You want students to engage in content. You're trying to create an interactive way using video and hosting video for that. Now, inside the classroom, science teachers are not used. This is not new to them. Creating a lab, setting up a lab is kind of the idea that I have as far as using my flipped lessons. When my students come back in my classroom, they should have a foundation as far as understanding a certain concept for my lesson. And then we're going to apply that lesson. Now here's really what becomes the hard part of it, the role of technology. Because we're all a little bit different as far as our understanding and the value that we put on technology. Flipped lessons today can be video, they can be screencasting, they can be this kind of social interaction online, but it all really does fall down on you and what you want your students to actually engage with and use. Collaborative spaces are extremely important in this case. Now we work in a district, Westchester Area School District, with Moodle or WC Clips that allows for us to do almost everything that you see right here on the screen. If you need additional help and support, I can help you and support you with your clips as far as setting it up. I've tried to create some examples for you guys to show you kind of how some of the stuff that I do, and then I've tried to extend us beyond what we currently have within Clips itself. For example, there's a website called Sophia that allows you to do short clips, and it's engaging. It allows you to do some quizzing. It allows you to do a lot of things, and I'll show you the website here in a moment. Here's another YouTube video with this teacher regarding how she flipped her classroom and what some of the things that she overcame with her classroom. When you start to look at evaluation, you have to start trying to figure out exactly what did you want to achieve with your flipped classroom. Students can only remember so much in a given lesson, as you know, in face-to-face, and I almost cut that in a third. So if I'm teaching 7 new concepts in a day, which I never would, but if I was, my flipped lesson may only have one, maybe 2, if the 2 concepts are extremely similar. You should also try to identify when the lesson is going to work best for you and your students. I wouldn't just kind of put one together because you're running out of material for the week and you don't want to get into new stuff, because students will actually not want to engage in your flipped lessons if they think they're just like busy work, and you'll lose the attraction of the lesson itself. Now, in flipping your classroom, here's some thoughts. Screencasting software. You can use a website called screenr.com. You can use another one called Screencast-O-Matic, which actually I've used both of these. I have a tendency to use Screencast-O-Matic more than ScreenR. Some of it is how long the videos can be. Cam Studio is a purchased software, but you can download it for 30 days to get a kind of an idea of what it's like. It's more of a picture-in-picture element. And then here's a link to some Apple software, Apple Screencast software that you could use in your classroom. Digital media that you can draw from. Khan Academy is very popular. Discovery, YouTube, Teacher2, Show Me actually has some videos up there too. And again, the Show Me is actually going to be more for the Apple, iPad, iPhone kind of lessons. Posting your lessons, you got clips, which I would suggest that you do clips. Sophia, which I mentioned earlier. Screen-O-Matic can host, and YouTube can host and Show Me. But you're going to be limited in how much engagement or how much traffic, student traffic, you can have on some of these sites. And then with YouTube, it's a matter of how open and how private you make the site. So this week, here's what you need to do. You need to kind of figure out what is a lesson I could do to screencast or to flip. As you do that, what kind of activities do you want students to engage with? You got to have them simply fill out an online digital worksheet, maybe using Google Drive and Google Docs, or you can engage them into a discussion, an online discussion, using a WC Clips forum. You need to figure out what model works for you and your students, and then just basically apply that model. I wouldn't get into a whole lot of variation yet as far as how you're flipping your classroom. I would test out certain concepts and certain processes that you may want to apply. But I would try to I would start small. Just start small and figure out what works best for you. So week one task, your main task is to create a plan. Here's some guidance to your plan, or some elements to consider while you're putting together your lesson plan. It's a typical lesson plan. The thing about this is that I'd like you to share it, and I'll put a Dropbox or a way to share within our online class. And if you don't want to share with everyone, that's fine. But share it with me though, so I kind of have an idea of exactly what kind of the direction you're going. And then if you need help from me at all throughout the week, here's my Gmail account. You can use my email to actually connect with me. If not, then let me know what your account is, and we'll set up a time throughout the week. I know it's summer, and I know we're all kind of doing our own summer things, but if you do need additional help, just let me know here. All right? Now, again, this is about flipping your lesson, flipping your classroom, and I think by the end of the third week, you should have something that you can start rolling with in the fall. All right? Thanks.